This is Market News First. News you can trust.
Saul Albom, Market News First, Microcap Engine. Thanks so much for joining us. And here again, we focus on the microcaps, high risk, high return. That's the way we love it. We love finding entrepreneurs and leaders in their space, industry experts that are blazing the trail down to profits. And with that here, we have Fred Oden, the CEO of American Resource Technology, and we're going to go ahead and bring him on. Fred, this is Saul Albom, Market News First. How are you doing?
Doing well, Sal. How's your day?
It is a great day today. Market's up a little bit. We had some great guests, and you know what? I had a good night's sleep last night.
That's a good thing.
As the older I get, the more valuable a good night's sleep becomes, and that's.
I can appreciate that statement more than you know.
American Resource Technology Incorporated operates as a producer of oil and gas in the United States. The company holds interest in Linby, Onby, and Troller leases located in Kansas, also owns a natural gas pipeline located in Montgomery County. Now, I got you on the line. You've been working with the oil and gas. You got an oil and gas company. What's your perspective as far as oil and gas? Are you bullish? Are you bearish? Where do you see the price for our viewers? Can you give some insight?
Well, it's difficult to make that call. I guess right now we're looking at a pretty bearish market because of the world supply and demand type situation. There's not a real critical diminishing in supply, but we are having a lot of people come online, a lot of third world countries that are now becoming large end users of oil and gas properties. So it makes it a little bit tough to be able to meet up that demand with the same refining we have now. I think refining is going to be our biggest issue. We're going to have to make some quick adjustments to getting some more refineries online so we can have a greater capacity. And I think when that happens, you'll see the value at the pump go down just a little bit. But I think we're looking at some pretty strong oil prices for several years to come.
Okay. Now we have several leases about your company. Well, let me take a step back. Excuse me. How do y'all make money? For the viewers that are not as familiar with oil and gas companies, how does ARUR, how does American Resource Management, how do you guys, how do y'all make money?
Well, we go out and do due diligence on different leases and geological properties around the 4-state area. Right now we're concentrating in the eastern half section of Kansas, and we go out and find these lower risk properties that have some pretty high potentials for returns, and then we go out and invest with, or I guess join up with joint venture partners is the way we've been doing it in the past, to where we get people that can participate with us directly at the wellhead, and for our due diligence, we get a carried working interest of usually around 25% working interest carried in each one of the wells or the leases that we provide. Now we're in the process. That's the first phase of our business plan. We're in the process of increasing that participation ourselves, and what we'll gradually do is reduce the amount of participation by our joint venture partners, where we'll be able to keep a larger piece of each one of our properties. And the end result in the final phase of our business plan will be able to go out and drill these wells and purchase these leases and do everything in-house, to where we'll be able to keep 100% of the revenues coming into our public company, and that will make things a lot more attractive for our shareholders.
Now, you have several leases out there in this pipeline. Tell me, what are you most excited about?
Well, the Lindley lease that we have is we're in the process of funding a higher potential well on that particular lease. We've had some geological research done on it, and they've determined, we took the information to the same geological experts that were very instrumental in the Barnett Shale in the Fort Worth Basin, took our information over to them, and they've told us that we have the identical properties of the Barnett Shale on our lease. Now, it's called something different there, and what we're in the process of doing is going down and doing a first test well to see if we have similar successes in that particular region. Now, the zone is going to be a little bit thinner. It's not quite going to. It won't be quite the producer that the Barnett Shale is, but it's also 2,000 feet. And it's if you can get a third of the production of a Barnett Shale well with a tenth of the cost, that's going to be a home run in the gas producing areas around there. There's gas lines are all around us, so it'll be a really big play for us and be virtually a new field discovery in that area. So I guess that's the one that's really the most exciting. The ONB lease, ONB Troyer, are actually two leases that are side by side in the same project. That was a lease that was subject of a Department of Energy study back in the mid-'90s for gas repressurization or replacing the gas cap back to as close to its natural pressures as when it was virgin. That was very successful. They tried it on 5 leases across the country, and it worked all 5 times. And this is one of those actual leases. They determined with their geophysicists that based on the cores of the wells that when they drilled out there, we should have about 930 barrels of oil per acre foot. And those zones average across our lease, which is 1,270 acres, about 20 feet of pay on each one of those zones. So you're looking at upwards of 16,000 to 18,000 barrels of oil recoverable per each acre that we have out there, which makes it a pretty substantial amount of reserves for the company. We'll be implementing that gas repressurization project probably sometime after the 1st of next year and start reinventing the wheel, I guess I should say. We'll be going back and doing the same thing the government did 10, 15 years ago and enhancing our production there. The Knoll is a new area it's a very high gas prolific area up in the eastern county of, or northeastern section of Kansas, I guess I should say. There's a lot of gas potentials up there. There's a new gas storage field going in place that should be permitted. We're just waiting for the final approval by the federal government any day. It'll start accepting gas. We've got very high known gas reserves on our leases up there, and we've also got some behind-the-pipe oil production for those same well bores. So, everything we've got is pretty substantial. It all has its excitement at its own level.